and return it Monday before 9 a.m., you will only be charged for 1 day. Plus, just by mentioning WOCA, you get 25% off your rental. You heard right, not 5 or 10, but 25% off your rental just by mentioning that you heard it here on WOCA. But you'd better hurry. This is a limited time offer. Visit Sunbelt today on Highway 27, just half mile east of I-75. Give them a call at 369-9101 or visit them on the web, sunbelt.com.
Ocala, baby.
Hi, this is John Sotomayor, Executive Editor of Ocala Magazine, here to tell you that Ocala Magazine now has its very own radio show, and it's right here on WOCA The Source.
Tune in every Friday at 10 a.m.
And we bring the pages of Ocala Magazine to life. We'll be covering the latest stories that impact your world right here in Ocala.
Be sure to tune in every Friday at 10 a.m.
For Ocala Magazine Radio, right here on WOCA, 1370 AM and 96.3 FM, The Source.
Looking for hand-cut steaks or just plain good food made from scratch daily? Then head over to Cody's Original Roadhouse for a fun, casual, family-friendly meal. Plus, don't miss the best happy hour with 2 for $1, everything from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day, including Top Shelf. Unwind and watch your favorite college or pro team on one of our many high-def TVs. Cody's, you won't go home hungry or broke. You'll just go home happy. Cody's Original Roadhouse, where quality and value come together.
Trying to reach Mark Daniels. We'll keep trying. I'm going to go and give you my take on this right now, the Gator game. From my perspective, and JJ, I think you should counter, and you can too, Tom. But JJ, you should counter with the Miami side of this. This is not necessarily a Gator side. I just want to say a couple of the words to Gator fans. I've probably been asked 15 times since Saturday. What do you think? What do you think? And what I think is it's way too early to start panicking right now. But it's well within the time frame to express disappointment and aggravation, which is what we're talking about here, because there's a lot of Gator fans disappointed, dejected, and aggravated, and it's more than just about losing the game. Some of them were unhappy the week before in the Toledo game. They don't like the offense. They don't like the perspective. They don't think Gator football is any fun. I had lunch with the guy today who's an ardent supporter for many years, staunch backer of the Gators. He says it's just not any fun anymore, and so. Conversely, people say, well, I turned on the South Carolina-Georgia game. That was fun to watch, And so it's more than just winning and losing. The first half of that Georgia-South Carolina game showed us what it could be like when you have a live offense, when you're really putting it downfield, and things are happening. Although there are some people who rooted against Spurrier because they're so mad because he went to South Carolina. But there are a lot of us who like Spurrier and want to see him win, but of course they did not. Like I said, get used to the discombobulation. It's the new normal. Think about it. 5 turnovers, a failed fourth down on a poorly executed play that was a questionable call anyway. Bad decision execution on the 2-point play. Now, I could kind of see, in a way, why they may have done that. It turns out it didn't work, but they have a certain look. If they get that look, the reason they do this is to spread and put a center and a back and blocker up there, is if they get a certain look, they kind of think they can get it and run it in for 2. I don't know if that was the time to do that. I guess they thought it was a momentum builder, but they made a decision to do it. It didn't work.
It was a momentum crusher is what it was.
It didn't help any. There were other things. No rhythm, no flow to the offense. To me, it's about time that Brent Peace and Will Muschamp decide who they are and what they want to be. Because they're not Alabama. I hate to say it, but I said this, and other people said they believed it was true. Some people think that Will Muschamp is channeling Doug Dickey's playbook. Now, I got to tell you that this is how bad it got with the Doug Dickey. And I like Doug Dickey, by the way. My sister, who knew nothing about football, about as much as I know about international politics, sat in the stands. She, ardent Gator fan, she went to every game, rode home, everything else for years. She could make the play call and call Doug Dickey's offense. She knew where the ball was going to go every single play because it's either off tackle right or off tackle left or up the middle. And, by the way, I'll throw it downfield on the third down. guess what? Tom, you played defense.
I did.
If the people continue to run the ball on first and second down and throw it on third down, do you kind of get an idea maybe they may be prepared for that?
You know, and I went back, and the lovely thing about DVR is you can go back and watch it like a coach watches film. And I went back and watched on 5 separate occasions, 5 on a first down. 5 first downs where Miami had 9 players inside the tackles less than 5 yards off the ball. Right. When you have 9 of 11 players in an area about 6.5 to 7 yards wide and 5 yards deep, there's a pretty good indication you know they're going to run in that area.
I'd say.
And Florida would see 9 in the box. And where was the play action? Give a little play action when the 9's in the box. You got 2 guys covering, send 3 receivers out. They got 2 covering 3. I'm from South Georgia, but I can do that math. That means somebody's open.
Mm-hmm.
But never once did Florida do a play action on first down. I've seen that kind of offense before. It's called the triple option. But it's because there is no passing game. You just run, and wear the defense down, and then you bust a big one in the fourth quarter. That's not the offense Florida's running, nor is it the offense they should be running. I tweeted on Saturday, the Florida offense has abandoned the Florida defense today. Shame on Brent Peace and the Gator offense.
Well, the defense had its moments that looked really good. They had one play where they got beat deep, which was not good. And they did fairly well. The block punt, of course, was a big play for Florida, and there was 2 highlights. But the thing about it is that what I like about what Miami's doing, and I said this to JJ, who's a big Miami fan, and let JJ respond, is that Al Golden has been through hell and back the last 3 years. He has had the sword of Damocles hanging over his head, but the NCAA can't make up its mind. He's trying to recruit, waiting for an answer. The guy's hung in there. He had a plan this summer that came out that he was going to put all of his sights toward trying to beat the Florida Gators. And then he said, well, I'll read it to you right here as a story. He says, this was the plan, the one that Miami coach Al Golden put together back in May and June when he actually mapped out how every day was supposed to go this season for the Hurricanes. September 7th, beat Florida. September 8th, move on from beating Florida. So, and as the story says, his vision became a reality on both fronts. So I applaud him, and I applaud him for executing it. On the same token, I understand they're frustrating Gator fans. Listen, I got a whole bunch of tweets down here. I tweet all during the game, and none of them were good. But when you have things like experienced players who've been around for a long time making stupid plays, dropping balls, fumbling the ball, and then making bad decisions. Driscoll throwing the ball in the middle of 4 orange jerseys. I mean, clearly.
Off his back foot.
Anybody could see that. And although he threw for 291 yards, he had 2 interceptions in the red zone and lost a fumble. So he had a horrible day all the way around. You're not going to win a game by turning the ball over 5 days and five times and 3 times in the red zone. So it's not looking pretty up there. I'm not ready to say that the program is going to go south, but this is a harbinger of spring. This is something some of us have talked about now for a while, and after the Sugar Bowl last year, and all during spring, and all during the fall, and whatever. I've seen no indication that things are changing. And if I'm a Gator fan, of which I guess I would say I am one, although I like to remain a little bit objective about it, is that I'm worried. I don't know. JJ, you said earlier, Muschamp's not the man. You're a Miami fan. What do you say to that?
As a Miami fan, I think that this is the loss that's going to get the ball rolling for Muschamp to probably lose his job within a year or two. With an offense like that, they lost 2 out of their last 3 games, looked bad in all 3 of them. Going back to the Sugar Bowl, Toledo, they won, looked bad on offense. Everybody knows offense is their problem. You could call 5 of the same plays that they do from the stands. It was ridiculous. I don't think they're going to be able to beat the big-time SEC schools or even be close to doing that if they keep this up. Hit Florida State at the end of the year. It could be a 4 or 5 loss season. I don't know how long they are going to let Muschamp do.
Buddy, here's a stat that people aren't keyed in on. The last 3 ranked opponents Florida's played, They've never led in any of those games, and they've turned the ball over 14 times. That being Georgia, Louisville, and Miami. They never led in any of those games, and they've turned the ball over 14 times.
The mark of a team that's not confident is the fact that a coach is not leading them right. They're not. He didn't have a grip on things, and
you got to be pumped for the game, to come out.
Al Golden
in
was
that game.
Al Golden looked like a kid in a candy store at that football game. He was rah-rahing it and jumping around.
And when they did get the momentum back with the pump fake or with the block, to go for 2 and just totally lose every single piece of momentum you just tried so hard to get back. It's insane. I can't believe that he went for it.
Of all the
fourth
things,
downs,
of all the things that you said, and I agree with what you said, JJ, about the situation. But there are very much 4 losable games left on the schedule, without question.
5, buddy. They play Georgia Southern too.
Yeah,
please,
that's one. That is one game that I think that
let's
they
not
will
talk
win.
fantasy here, okay?
Hey,
But anyway, so
Kansas State thought that too.
Yeah. Yeah, they answered, by the way, this weekend. One I got right, not many. Anyway, what was I saying? I forgot. I've lost my train of thought here.
4 or 5 losses.
The one thing I'm just
4
saying
losses
is
still on the
disturbing
schedule.
is the fact that run, pass, run, pass. The defense knows when you know you got to put a nickel back on third down, it takes the mystery out of it. So it's such a predictable. So I'm going to give you real quick some of my tweets here. We're waiting for Mark Daniels. We might have disconnected with him. We'll continue to try to do that, but if we don't get him, we don't get him. We got France coming up in a little bit. Let me just give you my tweets and let me tell you why so is it. Number one, what kind of drove me crazy about the broadcast is that Florida is driving in the first quarter, like 7 minutes. ESPN takes a commercial break in the middle of the drive.
No way.
Yes, in the middle of the drive, and I marked down. I wrote, "This could be a momentum killer." Jeez, guess what? It was. And that was
Did
number
you
one.
flip the radio on?
No, I had on the. I just said they had a commercial. They played a commercial. Stop
Oh,
the drive.
you're talking. I do remember that when there was a commercial
Yeah,
break. I
in the
thought you were
middle of
just
the
saying
drive.
ESPN.
No, ESPN in the middle of the drive stopped the game.
Stop the game.
I saw
and
that.
you don't
After a
stop
timeout.
Drive. Well,
I
they
think it
stopped.
was after a
No, it was a
timeout.
media timeout. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it was after a penalty.
There was a penalty.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's not what you do.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a penalty, right?
There was a penalty, and then ESPN went for a
Right.
3.5
Yeah.
minute break.
Then, of course, they went in. They blocked the punt. They go in for the 2 point, and I wrote memo to Will, do the math. That was pretty obvious. And then they started turning it over, and I tweeted, "Here you go, Hurricanes. You want fries with those mistakes, interceptions, fumbles, penalties, and dumb coaching decisions." And then finally, in frustration, I said, "This ineptitude of the Gators offense is superseded only by the poor camera work and direction of ESPN today." So
No respect by ESPN putting the 4th and 5th team
right?
producers on the job.
Yes, and then I said, "Oh, for those 2 wasted timeouts," and to top it off, a clinic and terrible clock management at the end. So from beginning to end, it was just a poor performance by the Gators.
The Gators did nothing to prove why they shouldn't be on at noon.
No, you're right about that. Exactly right, for sure. So, on the other hand, Miami returns to AP top 10. JJ, you got to be happy.
Not
about
top
it.
10, 15.
Top
buddy.
50, 25, top 20, yeah, 15, yeah, for the first time in 3 years.
Yes. This is the biggest win that I can remember since like
It's a big
2005
one.
or 4.
It's a big one. The biggest I remember in
People
a
are
long time.
shocked that Al Golden, I've heard people say, can't believe Al Golden pulled this. Al Golden won at Temple, okay?
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. Al Golden won at Temple. Even with Miami in the throes of what it's in, I think he's got a little better athlete than he had at Temple.
And very easy schedule until Florida State. They could be 7-0. That would be very interesting.
It could be. I'm a little surprised, by the way, that there were some seats that were empty. People didn't
Yes,
show up
in the top section.
But they announced 76,869 based on tickets sold. That's a record since they moved to the Sun Life Stadium in
Right.
2008. Previous record was 75,115. So
I will say, though, I have seen Florida State games there a lot more packed. I don't care what they say. I guess it's because they had extra seats, but
and they sold them all, though.
yes, they
Some
did.
people
They got their
decided-
monies out.
They were out in the water someplace and decided not to go.
Didn't wake up early enough.
Yeah. So, all right. So tell me about the experience of being there and the stadium. JJ.
Oh man. Well, first it was a good crowd because it was early, so not everybody's acting a fool.
I mean, they weren't all drunk yet.
Yes, it was probably like 65-35 Miami Gator fans. Everybody seemed to be going good before the game. After the game, of course, it gets a little worse. But it was awesome to be there when something that I think is going to be a pretty important win for the team that I support happens. You always want to be there when something like this happens.
It's huge win.
Yes. Savannah State in a couple weeks, then USF, Georgia Tech, UNC. So winnable games until Florida State.
It means nothing if you don't build on it.
Exactly. Still got to keep winning.
And you've got probably 3.
Our defense looked awesome, which was totally different from anything they've done in years.
They look better.
Well,
they got to the ball. They made turnovers. They still gave up a good amount of yards, but that's going to happen.
Well, the first play, Florida ran over them. I watched that.
Yes.
They flattened, pancaked the whole defensive line, and that's the last time that happened.
Matt Jones could have ran through a 60-yard hole instead he danced around.
Yeah.
Matt Jones didn't impress me at all, by the way.
Well, he's a freshman. It's his first game.
Yeah. Why didn't they go back to the kid who had some experience from last week and put it when Matt Jones wasn't effective? I think they stayed with Matt Jones too long.
No.
Mac Brown.
Mac Brown.
They had Mac Brown.
Yeah, but I think Mac Brown, after Matt Jones danced around and looked a little indecisive,
Fumbled,
I think you put Mac Brown in and he all of a sudden gets most of the carries. And that didn't happen. They stayed with Matt Jones. And I think they stayed with Matt Jones too long. That's just my
Because he had the ability to bust it, and I don't think Mac Brown does.
Mac Brown,
well, he's not as fast. He's more of a downhill
but
runner.
in this kind of offense, if you're going to run this kind of offense, you're not going to run it for a breaker.
So
you're going to run a downhill offense.
What is this kind of offense anyway?
Yeah, who knows?
If you're going to do 2.5, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, you want the north-south guy. You don't want the breaker.
I mean, I saw a couple of little wrinkles in there with the reverse and what have you, but
that takes too long to develop the way they're doing it.
Yeah, and the one play was so bad. I want to say it was 3rd and 2 or something. They ran a stupid pitch play, which
never works.
You knew it wasn't going to work.
And on 4th and inches.
I saw South Carolina run the same play, and they ran it beautifully. You got to get that pitch out right now.
Yes.
You can't wait.
When they went 4th and inches, and who didn't know Driscoll was going to try to go off the hip of the center?
Really?
It was a poorly executed offensive game.
And
you're right. The defense at the beginning had a couple hiccups, but then the defense found its own way. And for the first time in a long time, I saw up the field pressure by the defensive line, defensive ends.
Well, they got some studs in there now. They got some guys that can bring it. I mean,
and you're going to have that against Aaron Murray and those guys.
Easily mystifying. There are times he's dominant and he disappears. He goes off the field. He can't seem to have any stamina or something. He's a monster when he's in the game.
Hey, buddy.
But yes,
we didn't hear much from Antonio Morrison. Is that a good thing or bad thing?
I don't know. He didn't bark at least.
He's waiting for the Bulldog game.
Yeah.
He's going to go over to UGA.
His first game back, I mean.
Yeah, I haven't seen really. I like to watch the replay before I can make any real comments because I'm watching the game. It's real hard to see every. You watch the ball, tend to watch the ball. But yeah, I think Antonio Morrison is going to be a good player. I really do. I think he's good. I think Florida's got some good players. I just don't see the offense coming together and gelling. And it seems to me there's a lack of confidence in this team. They don't have a look. Those guys in Miami, they were focused. They did what their job was. They were on the same page. Yeah, they made mistakes, but they were so committed that you just felt like somehow they're going to win that game.
Yeah,
and they did. So that's what it takes. Okay, a lot of NFL football to talk about, guys. Some remarkable plays yesterday. Some remarkable things. We'll talk about some of those games. We're waiting on our call. We better be getting it from the coach, Mark Daniels, from 7:40 The Game. See, I got it right that time.
Yes.
Because you stopped and looked at the page.
Right. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Let's talk about what they're discussing down in Austin, Texas today. Oh, my goodness. Not happy there. Not happy out in L.A. today either for a good reason. Sorry, Tom James. I know it was a tough day for you.
I believe I called that.
Oh, did you pick it?
I did.
Good. Well, there you go. You backed it up. We'll take a break. We'll return after this timeout on the Voice of Ocala Belly Sports page.
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And so is State Farm agent Angie Lewis, working hard to serve her community as a citizen and insurance agent. Angie wants to help you as you adjust your insurance needs to your life. From everything to helping educate your teen driver to protecting your family against everyday risk. She wants to change the way you perceive insurance by developing relationships with her clients, which is why Angie and her staff are proud to be a part of so many good causes in Ocala. In turn, she has chosen to single out those who step up as leaders. Each month on the Voice of Ocala, Angie spotlights a good neighbor, saluting those who give exceptional service or do random acts of kindness to others. For this, Angie was written up in State Farm's National Magazine. Angie also supports local businesses with a regular Biz Buzz. The Angie Lewis State Farm Agency is located at 1122 Northeast 36th Avenue, where visitors are always welcome and the coffee pot is always on.
Hi, this is Lisa Midget, owner of Kinetic Motion Fitness here in Ocala, Florida. A lot of you have experienced our great classes in personal and small group training, but did you know we now offer dynamic workouts on DVD? These high-quality, locally produced, effective DVD workouts can go where you go. Going on vacation? No problem. We can go with you. Friends and relatives out of town who are jealous that you get to come to KMF? No problem. We ship anywhere in the United States for free. Our great lineup of 4 DVDs includes Kinetic Achieve, Kinetic Couples, Kinetic Core, and Kinetic Campus. 4 great workouts for the entire family on DVD. Sound interesting? Check them out on our website at kmfocala.com. While you're there, check out our class schedule and come see us. We're only 5 minutes from downtown across from the Skylark Plaza. Visit kmfocala.com and like us on Facebook. KMF will get you results at our studio or at home with one of our DVDs. Kinetic Motion Fitness. We're ready when you are. Visit kmfocala.com for more information.
1370 WOCA.
So what did you do with your weekend? Me? I was flying, because I'm taking flying lessons from Ocala Aviation. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, hey, I'd like to give that a shot, but I'm not quite sure. Well, I've got the solution. It's called the Discovery Flight, and that's exactly what it is. It helps you discover the wonder of flying and if it's for you. It's only $99, and it gives you the chance to learn a bit more about the airplane and then actually go for a ride with a flight instructor and take control of the airplane. That's how I got started, and now I'm on my way to being a pilot. Yeah, I know, scary thought, right? But the demand for qualified pilots is stronger than ever, and with the help of Ocala Aviation, you could make a career change and learn to be a commercial pilot. But it all starts with a Discovery Flight. So stop by the flight school, conveniently located at the Ocala Airport, visit the website at ocalaaviation.com, or call 861-7484. That's 861-7484. Ocala Aviation. Your adventure starts here.
Sign up for this year's Marion County Heart Walk and be part of a local movement that's helping others live longer, healthier lives. Join Chairman Dr. Jim Henningsen and walk with us on Saturday, October 5th at Baseline Road Trailhead. It's a free event promoting physical activity and heart-healthy living. To find out how you can help the fight against the #1 killer of all Americans, visit us online at marionheartwalk.org.
Call me crazy. Some people say insanity is doing the same thing over and over expecting a different result. I think insanity is 1,000 single-sided full-color business cards for $15 or packing service for 50% off. Call me crazy. Regency Printing on the corner of Northeast 25th Avenue and 24th Street, 789-6683. That's 789-6683. Look for the yellow signs.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Life jackets save lives. Wear it, Florida. Times of clouds and sun today. A morning shower in spots near the coast with a high of 87 to 91. And clear skies tonight with a low of 69 to 78 degrees. For tomorrow, looking partly sunny, similar for Wednesday, with a shower or thunderstorm spreading from the coast to inland areas each day. The high tomorrow and on Wednesday from 87 to 90 degrees. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Evan Duffy.
We're back on the Voice of Ocala. Buddy Sports Page. Going over the picks, buddy. Rough week for JJ. His Miami Hurricanes won, but Vegas killed him this week. JJ, what happened to you?
He doesn't care.
No, I don't care.
Honeyberry don't care.
Honey Badger.
Honey Badger.
What happened to you? 1-5 on your picks this week.
Everybody's doing pretty bad.
Well, you know who let me down? Michigan State not blowing USF out.
That hurt me too. But they beat them. They just didn't beat them by enough.
Yeah, they had to win by 23 and a half, and they won by what, 6, 7, 5?
No.
17 or
17, 23, something.
Touchdown. They just needed another touchdown.
Yeah, it was 20-6, I think.
Yeah. And then, of course, you had the South Carolina game, which many of us picked Spurrier, and they let that one get away from them. The Gamecocks.
Second half horrible for the Gamecocks.
Very bad.
And where's the Heisman hopeful, Jadeveon Clowney? Oh yeah, not a Heisman hopeful.
Not
anymore.
happy with how he's being used in the offense, buddy.
Who, Jadeveon Clowney?
Yeah, or defense.
Yes. Well, they made a comment on the game about how he was stayed on the same side, and that was kind of interesting. Why did they move him around, which they've been doing? They let him on the same side all the time.
Put him in the middle,
Yeah, I agree. I think it'd be better to move him around.
Because they basically ran everything away from him.
Yeah.
So when you mix it up, you don't know where to run anything.
Well, when they moved him around in the first game against North Carolina, he looked lethargic and tired. So maybe they thought he needed to stay in one spot, and they overloaded him.
Big story is in Austin, Texas, where Mac Brown, who himself has got to be on thin ice, he says he's not going to be fired. He's been saying that for years.
Joe Williams fired him already.
Well, apparently he is so unhappy. What did BYU put? 700 yards of offense on the Texas defense. Defensive coordinator Manny
679, buddy.
Okay, well, round it off. Manny Diaz, the athletic director, apparently reassigned them the athletic department, not on the coaching staff, and he makes $625,000. So Mac Brown making a statement, he had greater anticipations, and when you get beat like that, was it 40-27 or something like that?
40-21.
Okay, by a team by BYU. All respect to BYU. Texas has no business losing a game like that.
Hey, BYU has a national championship, buddy. 1984, they went undefeated, 12-0.
Nothing to do with where they are ranked.
You
right
cannot,
now.
as a Texas team, Texas is always going to have probably the most talent on the field over the two teams. To give up 550 rushing yards, that's insane. 7.6. The little quarterback BYU had, who was coming off an ACL tear, wearing a knee brace, buddy, had 17 carries, 3 touchdowns, and 259 yards.
The quarterback had 2.5 football fields of yards.
Wow.
Running back, 182.
Mac's got to be feeling heat. There's no question about that. But you know who's feeling some heat, don't you?
Josh LaSalva.
How about our boy Lane Kiffin?
Oh, good night.
That might be a worse loss.
And you know who's smelling like a rose now? Washington State for bringing Mike Leach in.
Yeah, and a low-scoring game too. I mean, there's two jobs would be pretty choice if they were up and available. I mean, Texas job and USC.
Well, Tom James has already sent his resume to USC.
Yeah.
192 yards of total offense, buddy. USC losing at home to Washington State. A team that had 2 wins, I believe, last year.
Right. Wonder when the last time USC lost to Washington State was.
Look it up.
Didn't Bledsoe quarterback at Washington State?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that may have been the last time when Bledsoe was quarterback at Washington State.
Yeah, I mean, that's like Florida losing to Vanderbilt, probably.
I bet it is.
Yeah.
I bet they hadn't lost to Washington State in a long time.
Yeah, that's not good. Not good. You thought that was bad. They had problems out in Colorado, too, They've had problems out there with several things, but this is even worse. Ralphie, you know who Ralphie is?
Yep.
Ralphie got spooked and could not make her pregame romp around Folsom Field Saturday night.
When the Buffalo can't make his romp around the field.
There you go. It's her, by the way.
Right,
Ralphie. She's first time they've missed since 2002 when Ralphie was in heat. Wow, that's the last time.
So rad.
Did you find out yet when the last time Washington State beat USC? Is it so long ago that it's not even showing up on?
I don't know that, but I can tell you that Buffalo.
They beat them in 2011. 34-14.
Beat USC. Wow.
2000. Yeah, I think that was it. I don't know. I'm still looking.
Anyway, back to the Buffaloes. They were tied with Central Arkansas 14-14 at halftime. Do you think they were a little shaky about that out there? Things were getting a little bit scary for the Buffaloes.
Washington State won in 2009, by the way.
Well, they don't win often anyway.
Yeah.
So BYU, Texas, a little shakeup. That's what I love about college football. We always get something happening the first couple of weeks that we don't expect to happen.
You know what? I got to say this to give Washington State credit. Looking at this, since 2000, all right, Washington State and USC has exchanged wins. almost every single time.
Really, it just seems like they don't ever beat them.
Yeah. Well, they don't play that often. I think it's like an every other year type thing. But yeah, they come out victorious a lot of times.
How about that? Well, let's excuse ourselves for making fun of Washington State. Sorry, folks, if you went to Washington State. Big game coming up, Alabama, Texas A&M. What do you think, guys?
I'm thinking. I don't know. I like Texas A&M, man.
I think that Nick's already said in the locker room that Manziel kid's not going to beat us this year, and there are defensive guys that want nothing more than to see the referee whistle the timeout, referee's timeout, injury, and Manziel to be carted off.
Well,
trust me.
I'll put it like this: they intend to make him spend some time on his back. That's for sure.
Oh, they definitely do.
Yeah.
They want to make Manziel realize he's not the be-all, end-all. It's Alabama.
Well, it's going to be a good one. We'll take a break, come back. We'll finish up with our friend Franz Beard, find out what's happening up in Gatorland these days. They're hanging black crepe paper or what's going on up there in Gainesville. After this timeout on
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase process fixed rate allowance.
Yahoo! Kids are back in school and report cards are right around the corner. I've got old cars shaking in their boots because I'm flunking clunkers and junkers this month.
Hey, Professor Chris Spears from Prestige Auto Sales. What's a smart plan to keep you from flunking out in a car that can't make the grade?
This week, trade in and save more. Get the appraised value of your old car plus up to $4,500 off a nicer, newer car.
Stuck in bad credit detention? Our For the People credit approval process wants to help everyone, even if you've been turned down before.
I vow that no car will be left behind.
Visit Prestige Auto Sales today.
Yes, during our old car report card event, you'll get up to $4,500 off a nicer, newer car, plus the appraised value of your old car. But hurry, my old car report card event ends September 30th, or after we've helped 67 students pass the test in a nicer, newer car. My name is Chris Spears, and I'm a dealer for the people.
Visit Prestige Auto Sales in Ocala or Bellevue, or call 694-1234. See you at Prestige.
Hi, this is Buddy Martin. If you have an award or a trophy in your house, there's more than a good chance it came from BJ Trophies Gifts and Awards. At BJ Trophies, Floyd Hirschberger and his staff have a lot more than just trophies. Among the items they specialize in are donor recognition walls and trees, personalized or engraved gifts, cast bronze dedication plaques, wide format digital printing with posters, banners, and signs, and promotional products. Floyd is the official trophy and awards maker for the Voice of Ocala radio show and is North Central Florida's leader in custom recognition programs, corporate awards, industrial engraving, unique gifts, and advertising specialties. When Angie Lewis went shopping for something to award to the winners of her State Farm Good Neighbor Award, she shopped first at BJ Trophies Awards and Gifts. Check them out at 1735 Northeast Jacksonville Road on North Magnolia's Miracle Mile, or call them today at 352-732-2249. BJ Trophies Awards and Gifts. Trophies is just our middle name.
Gene Powell Pasture Mowing. Our tractor services include bush hog, disking, front end loader, box blade, and stump grinding. We also have zero-turn mowers for the smaller paddocks, aisleways, fence rows, and lawn care. Fence row spraying is also available for weed control. We are licensed and insured. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440, or online at powellgene, Gene, at yahoo.com. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing.
On the next AM Ocala Live, Robin and I will be speaking to Jack Bosch. He's a German immigrant and entrepreneur, and he's written a book called Forever Cash. Break the earn, spend cycle and take charge of your life.
News Bites, the hottest news and current events served bite-sized.
And then You've Got a Garden with your host, Carol Ann Baldwin. She'll be answering your questions about your lawn and your garden.
Joe Piazza is the executive news editor of In Touch Weekly. She's written a book called Love Rehab, a novel in 12 steps.
And then Damage Control with your host, Joe Reichel from Damage Control Services. He'll be telling you how he takes a home that's been damaged and makes it whole again.
Maria Valdez-Fawley is an attorney, and she's an alumni of the University of Florida College of Law. She'll be speaking about how Latinas can identify and develop high-demand skills for today's workforce.
And then Dr. E. Steve Roach is coming on. He's a chief of pediatric neurology and vice chair of pediatrics at Nationwide Children's Hospital at Ohio State University College of Medicine. All of that plus fun with Joe on the next AM Ocala Live right here on The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM.
1370 AM.
Cook
Cookies, 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 cookies. We go
When you want something special and fun for any occasion, get cookies. That's right. The Great American Cookie Company in the Paddock Mall, Ocala will make a delicious, fun-filled delight just for you. You might notice that I said fun and delicious more than once. That's because I can't say it enough. The next time you're at the mall, be sure and stop by or call 352-237-2557 to place your order.
Cookies, cookies,
Yum.
cookies, cookies. We go cookie eating cookies.
The Great American Cookie Company.
Welcome back to the final moments of Buddy Sports Page on the Mondays. Go out to Gainesville, Florida right now and talk to a man who saw the same game we saw on Saturday. That would be Florida-Miami. Not a pretty sight, no matter how you crunch it. Right, Franz Beard?
Well, it wasn't pretty, but at the same time, buddy, I came away with some good thoughts. I saw the Gators capable of throwing the ball downfield. They got to throw it to the guys in the right color shirts, that's for sure. But any doubts that Jeff Driscoll can throw the ball downfield, I think were alleviated. I think that they've got a potential go-to guy in Solomon Patton going downfield. I liked the way he looked. There were a lot of things to like. There were a lot of things not to like too. But I think that all in all, there were good reasons to be encouraged, even with the loss.
Yeah, I think people are disturbed by the turnovers, though, and they're disturbed by the lack of any spunk in the offense. The numbers won't show that. The offense numbers look pretty good, but Driscoll, by the way, who had a hurt knee, he did not play well. Turning the ball over in the red zone is just inexcusable.
Well, he's still got that bad habit, buddy, of holding on to the ball, and I think it's because of indecision. I don't know if it's because he makes the reads properly or not. I was told this past week by a friend of mine who works in the New England Patriots organization that they are convinced that Tim Tebow could be an accurate passer in the NFL, but they think that he's got a problem with indecision and making the proper reads. And I don't know if that might not be the same problem that Driscoll has. You make the right reads. The guys who do that are make confident throws, and he makes a lot of unconfident throws, if you know what I mean.
I do. It looks like he's not confident at all, and the offense has no rhythm and no flow to it. At a game like that, you just can't make those kind of mistakes. And this Florida football team, let's be honest about it, not as good as we thought they might be. Defense has its moments. They look extremely good, talented, but there doesn't seem to be any cohesion on this team, France. It's something.
Well, I question the leadership. I don't know that they've got that guy. They don't have that polarizing figure like we know that Tim Tebow was, for example. Tebow was a terrific leader because he had that polarizing ability, and he could an entire team would rally behind him. I don't know that they've got that guy here.
Yeah, I agree with you. Looking down the road now, they're off this week. And coming up, the Tennessee game. The good news for them is they haven't lost in the SEC yet, and it's beginning to look pretty wide open in the East, especially with Georgia. Although Georgia hasn't lost a conference game yet, but certainly beatable. That's the thing. What do you think they have to shore up? You got about a minute. Shore up to get back in the picture, to get in contention, and can they get in contention in the SEC East?
Well, they certainly can be in contention in the SEC East. They haven't lost a conference game, and South Carolina's already one game down in the standings. They can hold serve at South Carolina, beat Georgia. They can win the whole shooting match. But the biggest thing, they got to have two tackles who can block the guy off the edge. You're going to face some teams with much better pass rushers than what they saw against Miami, and Miami's guys were all over the place. I think that if they can come up with a couple of tackles, and they can get maybe they may have to simplify some things for Driscoll so he doesn't have to make quite as many complicated reads or something like that. But they've got to get Jeff Driscoll comfortable making the reads and getting the ball out of his hand. If they can do those two things, I think they're going to be all right. Defensively, I'll tell you something, buddy. This is a terrific defensive team. They're ranked number 6 nationally right now in total defense. They rank number 1 in third down defense, number 4 rushing defense, number 14 in defensive, keeping teams from getting first downs on them. This is a team that's got the right mix defensively. They just got to get the cohesion on the offense, I believe.
All right, Franz Beard. Appreciate it, Franz, and we'll talk to you again on Thursday.
Thanks a bunch.
All right. There you have it. Franz has always got the upbeat view, you know? He looked at it through the rose-colored, orange-colored glasses. And, well, like I said earlier in the program, I think we're looking at the changing landscape of college football in Florida. We're going to see now whether or not Al Golden backed this win up, whether or not the Hurricanes can become a factor. The Florida State Seminoles look
Famous
like...
Jameis, where are you at?
Yeah, where you at?
I already had my Seminole fans calling me on the drive back.
And
y'all are next.
This won't be the last of it, so for sure. So I want to thank Carl Zellick, Commissioner, being here today with us and talking about the new CNG plan. Angie Lewis and her guest, Laurie Zink, and thanks to Franz Beard on behalf of my broadcast partner, Tom Spitz, along with JJ in Austin for an hour. I'm Buddy Martin. Have a great night, everybody.
Hi, this is Buddy Martin. I want to tell you about a conversation I had recently with General Manager Pat Murray on the great family atmosphere at Country Club